A lot of confusion is taking place in the Minnesota front office when you have the owner coming down with a mandate saying trade him by Tuesday, and then you have Tom Thibodeau and the president of basketball operations saying that they don't want to move him at all. You have to now look at the owner and say, is he going to take a bad deal? And usually when an owner says a player is going to get moved, guess what's going to happen? That player will eventually get moved. And I know Jimmy Butler gave them a list of teams that he wanted to play for, including the Nets, Knicks, and the Clippers. Miami Heat have been trying to go really hard to try to acquire him. It's not really going to take place in Houston. So with that being said, with him not controlling his own destiny, he may be in a position like a Kawhi Leonard or a Paul George where they trade him to a team that he necessarily didn't want to go to initially.
He feels like a Riley guy. Do you like the fit in Miami?
He definitely feels like a Riley guy. Now, I saw him kind of in Gabrielle Union's mentions this offseason, and I don't know how that dynamic could play in the locker room when we're hearing rumblings of what probably happened in the Minnesota locker room with another teammate. But with that being said, he is a Riley guy. He is an Eric Spoelstra guy. He gives them toughness. He gives them versatility. One of the best two-way players in the game.
The plot thickens.
I'm going to paint a picture for you and disagree with your assessment that the Warriors can't lose with KD. They can lose this year's finals with KD. You know why? He's going to miss the first game. I'm picking Toronto to win this series. And I'm picking them to win the first game.
You are?
Jalen?
Yes.
Since when are you picking Toronto?
Don't steal my thunder.
Why are you picking Toronto?
Because KD is injured.
Right.
Because Boogie's injured.
All right, so how's it playing out?
And so here's what's going to happen. The Toronto Raptors are going to win game one. I saw KD limp into the plane. He ain't look like he was ready for game two. But say he comes back in game two.
KD ain't playing in this series.
Correct. So, correct.
Right.
Correct.
Right.
So, say the Raptors get up 2 games, and then all of a sudden you want to bring back KD. You don't think that's pressure on him to come back from an injury and get a must-win game? That's absolute pressure.
Have to,
And also, we talk about what the Warriors did before KD. They won 1 championship. Let's talk about what they did with KD.
With Dellavedova as LeBron's second best player.
Let's talk about what they did with KD. Won 2 championships. And KD was the finals MVP. I'm a person that doesn't believe this Warriors team that doesn't have the depth that they used to have would win a championship this year without KD.
That was a sleight of hand. You said, but if KD misses these games and Toronto can jump up 2-0. I'm saying, yeah, maybe. If KD plays some games, they could still lose. I'm saying if you play a 7-game series against this Warriors team and they have KD on
but
the
they
team,
don't. They don't.
You're going to lose. But they're not going to have KD at all, Jalen.
They don't have them. They don't have them.
What you're failing to see, the most impactful player on the Warriors is Steph Curry. It's not Kevin Durant. So what happens, even though he doesn't have the same physical attributes, the ball is going to move. Other guys are going to be comfortable. When you play against the Warriors, you have to beat so many different styles of basketball. They can grind you out. They can run with you. They can defend. They do just about everything. And this is a team, chemistry-wise, that's comfortable. Toronto doesn't have the chemistry. Jalen, Toronto struggles to score the basketball.
Yeah.
Do you think they score in the 120s against the Warriors?
Ryan, your suit is better than your argument. And I'm about to tell you why, my brother. I'm trying to tell you guys, the finals is going to slow down. Here's the chess pieces. I'm about to tell them to you right now. You put Danny Green on Steph Curry. He's struggling shooting the ball, but he's still a lockdown
defender, yeah.
You put Lowry on Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson is a spot-up player. Every time he dribbles, the efficiency of that possession goes down. You put Pascal Siakam on Draymond Green. The most used play that the Golden State Warriors did against Portland was pick and rolls with Steph, with either Draymond and Looney. And that's why I put Kawhi on Andre Iguodala. Because when they run that pick and roll, here come my middle linebacker to come break up everything like he did against Marc Gasol.
Where?
You ready for this? Against Bogut, because now they're going to start Bogut to match up with the Raptors.
Bogut's going to play 5 minutes a game.
All right, guys.
Jalen just moments ago said that this coming season, the Denver Nuggets will be a better team than, have a better record than LeBron James.
That's just ridiculous. That is just ridiculous. I mean, you know what? He did that on purpose. You did that on purpose to get on my nerves this morning, didn't you? Because I came on this show and I said that the Lakers going to the conference finals, as long as they don't have to go to Golden State, they're going to lose to Golden State. That's the only team in the West that's going to beat the Lakers. That's what I said. And you did that just to mess with me. The Denver Nuggets, you mean the team that hasn't made the playoffs, that didn't make the playoffs last year, that lost in the season finale against the Minnesota Timberwolves? I like Denver. I like Denver to get to the playoffs this year because I think that, I would have preferred to see them in the playoffs last year than Minnesota, to be quite honest with you. I like some of their young guns. I love Murray. I'm just a fan of his out of Kentucky. That brother can shoot. He can ball. I love him. Isaiah Thomas got some things to prove. They got to get his money. We were once fantasizing about him getting potentially $200 million. He signed for $2 million. I mean, talk about a precipitous drop-off. So he's got some stuff to prove. But they're going to be better than the Lakers. LeBron James and the Lakers, the officials, the tempo, the calls, not to mention the greatness. You got to... you need to be tested. You need to be tested. I'm serious.
Defend yourself.
Watch. When the regular season ends, the Denver Nuggets will have more wins than the Los Angeles Lakers, Stephen A., for a couple of reasons. You just mentioned it. Murray is going to have a breakout year.
Love Murray. Harris
in that backcourt, they're going to be in the conversation of best backcourts in the game. And by the way, when you talk about the Lakers, there's a big hole in the middle. They don't have a Wilt. They don't have a Kareem. Who's going to be playing center for the Lakers?
Excuse me. It might be sometime LeBron. You might
Okay. That's an issue.
Tell me. What has happened to you?
That's an
Have
issue.
you not noticed how soft the game has become?
Correct.
LeBron James, that chiseled brick house that he is, at 6'9". I'm sorry. If Chris Bosh could give you some minutes at center back a few years ago, LeBron can't give you some minutes at center? It's not. Who's he going against?
Not in the Western Conference.
Who's he going against?
Nikola Jokic. The Joker.
Hold on,
a guy that got 19, 11, and 6 dimes.
I'm going to challenge you right now. I know he can play. I like him a lot. How does he usually score? You got to remember, he takes cats outside. In terms of being big, bulky, physical with his back to the basket and a post game, he's got a nice hook shot. He could do some things. Don't get me wrong. But what I'm saying is, it's not like it's brute force and muscle where he's just shoving you aside. I'm sorry. You got too many of these big boys that play small. And I'm not saying that as an insult. I'm just saying that the game is small in terms of how they put points in the bucket. What are you talking about?
LeBron is a physical specimen. However, when he's guarding a center, that's going to be a mismatch, in particular in the Western Conference. Look at all of the top teams. Golden State, they have Boogie. Houston, they have Capella. OKC, they have Adams.
No, Adams is different.
Utah, they have Gobert. Okay. Denver, they have Jokic. New Orleans, they have Davis. You can't put LeBron James at the 5 consistently
I didn't say
in the
consistently.
West.
I said you asked me with some minutes. Don't change the narrative. You said who's going to see some minutes. You ain't act like he playing 40 minutes at 5. Stop that.
Now the Lakers,
Stop that.
The Lakers will go further in the playoffs.
Oh.
But regular season, the Denver Nuggets will have more wins than the Lakers.
We're going to follow this all year long. We'll get to something to keep an eye on as the entire season goes forward. First, take 25
about to throw
minutes
a pin
away.
at
Thank
me.
you, Stephen A.
No, I thought you meant
Stephen Naismith. And first
I like
take
that
again.
name. I like that
We
name.
had a little potential playoff preview last night between the Nuggets and the Spurs, and let's just check in early on the action.
Spurs, go!
This is like the second possession of the game. LaMarcus gets it at his spot where he always gets it and takes the shot. He feels like he was fouled. Guess who else feels like he was fouled? Gentleman by the name of Greg Popovich. Tossed out of the game 63 seconds in. Jalen Rose.
Yes, indeed.
What do you think about him getting tossed in 63 seconds?
He's really passionate. He's one of the best to ever do it. And he doesn't allow the moment to take away from the opportunity to express himself. And I appreciate that about him, always has. Yeah, he's a terrific basketball coach and all of that good stuff and a champion and whatnot. He's conscious. He's disciplined, and he was upset. His player got fouled, felt like he was done wrong, and he came to his defense.
So the Nuggets made pretty easy work of the Spurs. You know, Greg Popovich wasn't there. I don't think that had much to do with it. The Nuggets looked like the better team that night, especially in the back end of a back-to-back when they just played the Warriors in a big nationally televised game. We've got the experience and championship pedigree of the Spurs versus the upstart young Nuggets with a great record. Who would you pick in a 7-game series if this was a round 1 matchup?
Denver Nuggets. And the thing about their team is Jokic, rightfully so, was an all-star, and he's probably going to be first or second team All-NBA center. Jamal Murray ascended this year. But when they had injuries to Harris and Millsap, they started to build out depth. And when you watch their team play, Monte Morris is playing quality minutes. Beasley's playing well for them. Craig is playing well for them. So I see them now as a complete basketball team.
All right, so LeBron's got these young guys he's going to be playing with, but I've been waiting 38 minutes to hear you tell me this. You're talking about LeBron James attracting a huge teammate to come play with him. Let's go.
We all know that the 2019 class is really stout, and we've continued to elaborate. Kevin Durant possibly going to be available. Klay Thompson, Karl Anthony Towns just re-signed with Minnesota. It's really a stout class. But we've seen players in the last couple of years exercise something that I call pre-agency. You saw it happen with Kawhi Leonard. You saw it happen with Paul George. In its own way, happen with Chris Paul, where the player goes to the team while they're still under contract and lets them know that they don't plan to sign a long-term deal. Therefore, they have to exercise their right to possibly trade that player so they can get value in return. I believe this time next year, we're going to be talking about Anthony Davis finding his way into a Los Angeles Lakers uniform to play alongside LeBron James.
Tell me why.
Because after this year, the New Orleans Pelicans are either going to make the playoffs and possibly lose in the first round and or not make the playoffs. The Western Conference continues to improve. There's so many teams at the bottom part of the conference that we don't talk about. What's going to happen with Denver? What's going to happen with Minnesota? Utah's gotten a lot better. Portland's made the playoffs last year.
Memphis is going to be better.
Memphis. So the Pelicans have not taken that quantum leap with one of the best young players in the game. I think now pairing Anthony Davis with LeBron James puts them in position to try to combat what's happening.
How do they make it happen? Who are the Lakers sending to New Orleans that makes that worth it?
That's what makes this a growth year for the Lakers' young three, as I'm calling them. Alonzo Ball, Kyle Kuzma, and Brandon Ingram. I think in order to try to get Anthony Davis in Los Angeles, it may cost you 2 or 3 of those players. But obviously, he's established himself as one of the top in the game.